Hello, welcome to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. In this upload, we're going to be reading 1 Kings chapter 2. Now, the days of David drew nigh that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong therefore, and shew thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself, that the Lord may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, if thy children take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and all their soul, there shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, thou knowest also what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, and what he did to the two captains of the hosts of Israel, unto Abner the son of Ner, and unto Amasa the son of Jether, whom he slew, and shed the blood of war in peace, and put the blood of war upon his girdle that was about his loins, and in his shoes that were on his feet. Do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his hoar head go down to the grave in peace. But shew kindness unto the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite, and let them be of those that eat at thy table, for so they came to me when I fled because of Absalom thy brother. And behold, thou hast with thee Shimei the son of Gera, a Benjamite of Bahurim, which cursed me with a grievous curse in the day when I went to Mahanaim. But he came down to meet me at Jordan, and I swear to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put thee to death with the sword. Now therefore, hold him not guiltless, for thou art a wise man, and knowest what thou oughtest to do unto him. But his whorehead bring thou down to the grave with blood. So David slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David. And the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years. 7 years reigned he in Hebron, and 30 and 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem. Then sat Solomon upon the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was established greatly. And Adonijah, the son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. And she said, Comest thou peaceably? And he said, Peaceably. He said, Moreover, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And she said, Say on. And he said, Thou knowest that the kingdom was mine, and that all Israel set their faces on me, that I should reign. Howbeit, the kingdom is turned about, and is become my brother's, for it was from the Lord. It was his from the Lord. And now I ask one petition of thee, deny me not. And she said unto him, Say on. And he said, Speak, I pray thee, unto Solomon the king, for he will not say thee nay, that he give me Abishag the Shunammite to wife. And Bathsheba said, Well, I will speak for thee unto the king. Bathsheba therefore went unto King Solomon to speak unto him for Adonijah. And the king rose up to meet her, and bowed himself to her, and sat down on his throne, and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother. And she sat on his right hand. Then she said, I desire one small petition of thee. I pray thee, say me not nay. And the king said unto her, Ask on, my mother, for I will not say thee nay. And she said, Let Abishag, the Shunammite, be given to Adonijah thy brother to wife. And King Solomon answered and said unto his mother, And why dost thou ask Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? Ask for him the kingdom also, for he is mine elder brother, even for him, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab the son of Zeruiah. Then King Solomon sware by the Lord, saying, God do so to me, and more also, if Adonijah have not spoken this word against his own life. Now therefore, as the Lord liveth, which hath established me, and set me on the throne of David my father, and who hath made me an house as he promised, Adonijah shall be put to death this day. And King Solomon sent by the hand of Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and he fell upon him that he died. And unto Abiathar the priest said the king, Get thee to Anathoth, unto thine own fields, for thou art worthy of death. But I will not at this time put thee to death, because thou bearest the ark of the Lord God before David my father, and because thou hast been afflicted in all wherein my father was afflicted. So Solomon thrust out Abiathar from being priest unto the Lord, that he might fulfill the word of the Lord, which he spake concerning the house of Eli and Shiloh. Then tidings came for then tidings came to Joab. For Joab had turned after Adonijah, though he turned not after Absalom. And Joab fled into the tabernacle of the Lord, and caught hold on the horns of the altar. And it was told King Solomon that Joab was fled unto the tabernacle of the Lord, and behold, he is by the altar. Then Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, saying, Go, fall upon him. And Benaiah came to the tabernacle of the Lord, and said unto him, Thus saith the king, Come forth. And he said, Nay, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king word again, saying, Thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. And the king said unto him, Do as he hath said, and fall upon him, and bury him, that thou mayest take away the innocent blood which Joab shed from me and from the house of my father. And the Lord shall return his blood upon his own head, who fell upon 2 men more righteous and better than he, and slew them with the sword, my father David not knowing thereof, to wit, Abner the son of Ner, captain of the host of Israel, and Amasa the son of Jether, captain of the host of Judah. Their blood shall therefore return upon the head of Joab, and upon the head of his seed forever. But upon David, and upon his seed, and upon his house, and upon his throne, shall there be peace forever from the Lord. So Benaiah the son of Jehoiada went up and fell upon him, and slew him, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. And the king put Benaiah the son of Jehoiada in his room over the host, and Zadok the priest did the king put in the room for Abiathar. And the king sent and called for Shimei, and said unto him, Build thee an house in Jerusalem, and dwell there, and go not forth thence any whither. For it shall be that on the day thou goest out and passest over the brook Kidron, thou shalt know for certain that thou shalt surely die. Thy blood shall be upon thine own head. And Shimei said unto the king, The saying is good. As my lord the king hath said, so will thy servant do. And Shimei dwelt in Jerusalem many days. And it came to pass at the end of 3 years that 2 of the servants of Shimei ran away unto Ashish, son of Maachah, king of Gath. And they told Shimei, saying, Behold, thy servants be in Gath. And Shimei arose and saddled his ass, and went to Gath to Ashish to seek his servants. And Shimei went and brought his servants from Gath. And it was told Solomon that Shimei had gone from Jerusalem to Gath, and was come again. And the king sent and called for Shimei, and said unto him, Did I not make thee to swear by the Lord, and protested unto thee, saying, Know for a certain, on the day thou goest out, and walkest abroad any whither, that thou shalt surely die? And thou saidst unto me, The word that I have heard is good. Why then hast thou not kept the oath of the Lord, and the commandment that I have charged thee with? The king said moreover to Shimei, Thou knowest all the wickedness which thine heart is privy to, that thou didst to David my father. Therefore the Lord shall return thy wickedness upon thine own head. And King Solomon shall be blessed, and the throne of David shall be established before the Lord forever. So the king commanded Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, which went out and fell upon him, that he died. And the kingdom was established in the hand of Solomon. Summarizing 1 Kings chapter 2. So David is dying, and he's talking to his son Solomon, who is set to take over the kingdom next. He's imparting his remaining wisdom. So when we get to verse 5, he gives Solomon a command, and he says, You know what Joab has done to me. Deal with him according to your wisdom. And what he's saying, we read, Don't let his whore head go down in peace. And whore, when you type that into the dictionary, you would have to, this is what the word would be used, how it would be used now. Words change over time. And so how you'll know is when you type it in the dictionary, it'll have another uh, entry like this. Of course, we don't see any definitions to help us understand what this word means. So you're going to have to click what the word is now to get a definition. And so we always know the term at the top encompasses the entries at the bottom, right? So the word hoary is how the word whore would be used now, Hoar. And when you look at the definitions, no longer humorous or interesting, old, ancient, or gray, okay? And even in botany, even in the study of plants, covered with fine gray hairs. So this has something to do with age and color, something like that, okay? So that's what this means. But another great feature of having Bible Ref display so many translations on the screen is you can eliminate the need for a dictionary so much, because with all of these together, you could get an estimate of what that word may mean. Also, Sheol is a another colloquialism, or I don't know, a cutesy phrase to describe death or describe the afterlife in Hebrew tradition. Okay. Another example of an antiquated colloquialism is here in verse 2, I'm about to go the way of the earth. So, what David is saying is he's getting ready to die. But you see how it's another phrase, so it doesn't sound as harsh. So, one thing I just want to discuss about Joab for a minute is he is David's army leader or military commander. From the beginning, he was very warlike and liked to fight and kill people. And it worked for him to do that job. But when it got to 2 Samuel 15, David's son Absalom spends 40 years convincing the tribes of Israel to embrace him as king and to reject David. And it was so bad that David had to run fleeing and barefoot from his own kingdom. Now, the foundation of David's leadership, he was anointed to be king over Israel. But when he got there, only one of 12 tribes supported him. The other 11 tribes of Israel did not support David. And this is after he was anointed to be king and after he defeated Goliath and then had to flee his life from King Saul because King Saul was trying to kill him because he was jealous of him and didn't want him to be king. So after all that, when he gets there and it's time for him to be king, he doesn't get the support and he doesn't get the embracing that he was supposed to get, or, that would be appropriate for a king. So when his son Absalom spends 40 years aggravating that foundation and turning people against his own father, okay, now Joab has to consider what he's going to do in this situation because he's the military leader. It's his job to protect the administration. So when he kills Joab, it seems very harsh, but that is the situation around Joab. So Joab was faithful after that. And it wasn't until the last chapter, 1 Kings chapter 1, when David's other son, Adonijah, decides he's going to take over the kingdom now that David is dying. And so he organizes a takeover himself. And David has to hurry up and give his blessing to Solomon so that Solomon can be the king next. Okay? But when Adonijah again aggravated that foundation to get people to turn against David and to accept him as king, he was able to get people to turn, David's men to turn with him. So Joab, the one who has been faithful with David all this time, in the last chapter, he supported David's son Adonijah. We also have Abiathar, who is David's priest. He turned against David now that he's older and dying, and he supported Adonijah in the last chapter. So that's the setup for Joab, and just wanted to put that out there. Joab was harsh, but his job was to extend the will of the administration of David and to protect that administration. So just putting that out there, because it's easy to look at a murderer and just think that they're just terrible, but we just have to understand he's getting his hands dirty so that David doesn't have to. In verse 7, he is advising Solomon to show kindness to this group of men who were kind to him. And then we're talking about Shimei in verses 8 and 9. So Shimei in 2 Samuel 16, because remember, 2 Samuel 15 is when Absalom stages that takeover over the course of 40 years. Well, after David is fleeing barefoot and crying, the next chapter is Shimei. Shimei sees David running for his life and throws rocks at him, throws insults at him. Now, yes, later on he does I guess make up with David because all it says is he went and he talked to David, but David did give his word that he would not be the one to kill him and take his life. but he's giving his son Solomon the agency to go ahead and do that. All right. Then we have verses 10 through 12 that David rested with his ancestors. Another colloquialism, another way of saying he died. Okay, that's what a colloquialism is. It's just a creative way of saying something else. So he reigned 40 years, 7 in Hebron, 33 in Jerusalem. So this is what we're saying, what I'm saying here about the first 7 years was only only over one of 12 tribes. 33 years was for the entire group, entire nation of Israel. So the nation of Israel has 12 tribes. Only one tribe has been faithfully embracing David, and the other 11 have this sort of fractured base and don't really support David. And every time someone comes to try to take over, there are people that turn from David quickly. All right. So now that we've done that, now we're going to talk about Adonijah. So verses 13 through 18, okay? We have Adonijah. He is the son who tried to take over the kingdom of the last chapter, right? So he has some gall. As soon as David dies, he approaches Bathsheba to say, look, that woman that was David's companion, because in the previous chapter, David got no heat, so he was starting to get very close to death. His servants provided a virgin, a beautiful virgin companion for David as he's dying. And so, because he's dying, he can't have sex with her or anything. It's just to make him feel comfortable. So, verses 13 through 18, Adonijah, who just tried to take over, is now asking Bathsheba, hey, can you ask Solomon about that girl that David had? I mean, can I just have her? So, she says, okay. She says, verse 18, very well, I'll speak to the king. So we have verses 19 through 22 or 19 through 21, and she's communicating this request. So sometimes in the Bible, after a person will say something and, hey, can you tell somebody this? Then the Bible will record the person saying the same exact words. So the information is just, not necessary to go through again, but just know that verse 19 through 21 is saying the same thing, 13 through 18. So she says this to King Solomon, hey, can your brother have that girl that was David's companion? And Solomon said no. You might as well request the kingdom for him. So he's feeling like here that his older brother is trying to little bro him. He just took over the kingdom. He just tried to take over the kingdom. This is a treasonous act. Solomon extended grace and let him live. But now he's coming again for something as soon as David dies, as soon as he's dead, he's asking for a request. So this was enough for him to say no. He's he turned Abiathar and Joab away from our father. And then our father died. Like, I'm not giving him anything else. So he's angry and he orders his death. So now Adonijah, the guy who tried to take over the last chapter, is dead because King Solomon ordered his death. Okay? So he removes Abiathar as priest because, again, Abiathar was David's priest who turned on him for Adonijah. Solomon says, just go home. And this fulfills some prophecy, but I did not do the research to make that connection clear, but it says it in the Bible. So Joab, the war hero we just talked about, the military leader, once he hears of the death of Adonijah, he knows that he's in trouble because he also followed Adonijah. So he flees to the temple. Another example of the church being used for something other than what it's intended to be, used as a cover, used as a place of protection. Okay, we just saw Adonijah do that in the last chapter. We saw David do this when he was fleeing King Saul. Now we're seeing Joab do this again. So just the church has always been used incorrectly in the Bible and now. So don't get surprised. The Bible already tells you, so you're not surprised about nothing. Solomon orders Joab's death. Joab hides in the temple. Benaiah, who is now the mercenary, he's now getting ready to replace Joab as military leader. He goes to kill him, but because he's in the temple, he doesn't. And he tells Solomon. And, Joab tells him, if you're going to kill me in the church. And then the king said, well, okay, do what he wants. And that's what all this is saying, verse 31 through 33. Solomon has a lot of flowery language, but he's just saying, we'll just go ahead and get him then if that's what he wants. And so 34, 35, Benaiah kills Joab. Okay. And then again, Benaiah becomes the military leader, replacing Joab now. Now, Shimei, that's the guy who threw the rocks at 2 Samuel 15 at David as David is fleeing because his own son staged a takeover over his kingdom. So, what we have here, Solomon takes Shimei and he says, okay, build your house in this one place. You can live there, but you better not leave. You're going to die if you leave. Shimei says, okay, this is generous. I will do as you said. And he stayed there for a long time. But 3 years later, two of his slaves ran off, and Shimei forgot the agreement or disobeyed the agreement. So when Solomon found out, he had him killed. It says now the kingdom was established in Solomon's hands. So again, Solomon is a new leader, and honestly, he started out fair because he gave everyone a chance to live, really except for Joab. The other thing that I wanted to point out is the ability for Solomon to be placed in leadership and the importance of beauty. Solomon became leader because of Bathsheba, and Bathsheba became a queen simply because of her beauty. Now, uh, the world will try to discourage a woman away from being beautiful or try to make her believe, people that cannot attain beauty will try to make beautiful women believe that there is no value in beauty. But as we can see, it extended to her bloodline. She was able to secure a kingship for her own son because of her beauty. Doesn't say she was a high achiever. Doesn't say that she was any other quality but just beautiful. Her beauty inspired this man to kill her husband and endure the wrath of God for her beauty, for access to her beauty. Okay? So just want to make that clear. If anyone tries to act like being beautiful or it's vain, no, it isn't. It's an advantage that you use to help you in life. Any advantage that you have, if you're smart, if you're a good talker, you use that advantage. And don't be ashamed of using beauty as your advantage either. You should. Everyone should. And then you see every high achieving woman, as soon as they get that money, you see them go and try to get some beauty too, because it inspires men to do things. All right? Deborah was a judge. That's a high accomplishment for a woman. She was respected. Okay? But you don't see any man being inspired to kill anyone for her. You don't see a man being inspired to place her as a king, or as a queen, and secure a place for her son. It's important for women to think about that because they are the extension to the next generation. So if you don't procreate with the man that can secure something like that for an offspring, that's something that you have to think about. Women have their power before something happens. Uh, it's easier to make a good choice than having to repair a bad one. Okay, so we also look at Sarah, how her beauty inspired men to give her money. And it didn't say she slept with them. Two different kings gave her wealth because of her beauty. Didn't say she was a high achiever, didn't say she was smart, didn't say she worked really, really hard. She was just beautiful, and it was an advantage that she was able to have. So we even see these other men. When these other men want to talk to David, they come through the queen, who is only there because of her beauty. Okay? When we saw how beautiful Sarah was, Abraham was inspired to write, or whatever. Moses wrote that, but the inspiration to write pages and pages, the inspiration for how Moses bought a burial plot for her. I mean, it was an elaborate scenario. And it's all because she was beautiful. It didn't say she had any other special skills, but beauty. That kind of beauty can inspire a man to do things like that. And especially if you're working class or in this society where every advantage you have matters. Beauty is an advantage. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is not something that you downplay. You use it to your advantage, especially as you're young. If you're young, use it as hard as you can. You just see, I'm not trying to, because I know I'm not the best Christian, okay? But we just seen that girl retire from OnlyFans from her beauty, okay? Even if she only got $1 million, do you know how hard some women have to work to even get close to that? This woman did not have to do no hard work. Well, I will. The allegations that are there, if they're true, then I apologize. But to me, that sounds like just hustling. And a girl with the hustle, I mean, you have to kind of nod your head off. Maybe a better example would be the Sophie Rain girl who is millions of dollars, got millions in the bank, and ain't even have to touch anybody. She didn't even have to touch anyone. That is some player. That is player to me. You didn't even have to touch nobody and got a bag. All these men got was some sticky hands and an empty feeling in their stomach. It's just important as a woman to pay attention because Abraham married a second woman. He married a woman, Keturah. She had 6 children. And remember, Abraham's whole thing was, I have no heir, I have no heir. And when Sarah finally got pregnant, she only had one son. So Abraham should have really honored the woman that gave him the children that she wanted. But he didn't. You don't even know if she died. You don't know if she got a burial plot. She inspired this man to write nothing about her. She didn't inspire him to do the same thing for her. It was all because of that beauty. She was able to secure wealth for her offspring. Isaac had to end up fleeing where he lived because he was so wealthy. Now, that wasn't all because of what he got from his father, but do you see how the woman making a good choice about who she procreates with can lead to a secure place for the offspring? Joseph, the child that had the coat of many colors, okay? The reason why his brothers were so jealous of him was because his father loved Rachel. When he worked for Rachel, he only wanted to marry Rachel. But Leah came in the package. He had to work. Again, her beauty had no special skills, no hard work, no achievements, nothing like that, no money. She didn't have herself together financially. All she was beautiful. Do you know Jacob worked 14 years for her? Because he worked the first 7 years for Leah, got tricked and worked 7 more years because of her beauty. It was that serious. And this is before God required marriage he didn't require sex before marriage. So he still could have had sex with her. We haven't seen a law yet where you're not supposed to have sex before marriage. So he could have still had sex with her and not married her. He wanted to marry. He was willing to work 14 years to marry her. Beauty inspires men to do great things. And Bathsheba was able to secure a legacy for her son. And David hurried up. First, he vowed to her in the last chapter. He called her before him to vow to her. I told you I'm gonna make our son king. Don't worry, I'm gonna make him king.